Hello, this is Dina Mitchell. I am the founder and executive director of the Realize Foundation, and we have our second Scars to Stars book coming out in September. And we are here today to talk to Lisa, who is one of our authors, and she also happens to be the president for the Realize Foundation. So, welcome, Lisa. I'm so glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So I have two questions for you today. And for those of you listening, I will tell you a little bit more about our mission and how to find us and how to get to our event after we have our conversation. So if you stick around to the end, I can give you some more information. So Lisa, my first question is, tell us a little bit about your chapter and what you wrote about.
Um, I wrote about how it's okay to not be okay. And what that means is I talked about my childhood, which was filled with child abuse, and the things that were done to me and the things that I did and the harm that I caused, and that um, we don't have to hide from our painful past, and we don't have to hide it from anyone else. And I found that through the power of storytelling, of sharing my story and having other people share their stories with me, I found out that I wasn't alone, that there were many, many people who experienced the same thing I did. I always thought I was so different from everyone else and beyond help. And just connecting with people, having that human connection and sharing stories and identifying and being able to put it all out on the table and have somebody look at me and accept me and not judge me the way that I was judging myself, was so helpful. And that even if you don't grow up being told you're good enough, you're smart enough, or having that encouragement, like there are other ways to tap into support outside of your, biological family, and find people who will love and support you and accept you no matter what.
It's true. It's very true. And I think I learned that a big lesson in 2020 as well when I started talking about my own story that I had hid for so long. So I think you're right. And I think part of it is we think that we're alone and we think no one else has gone through what we're going through. And we also think that if we are vulnerable or we share personal things, that it could hurt us or it could ruin our business or any of that stuff. And it's actually the opposite. When I came out and talked about my story about suicide, the support was overwhelming, and I was so scared it was going to hurt my business or I was going to lose clients, and it was the opposite. So it really is that it's true, we're not alone in any of
Right.
this. There's other people in the world that have been through whatever you're going through, no matter what it is, and that's what this
Right.
journey has taught me.
Yeah, and it's true. Like, when I started my business 20 years ago, helping other people with trauma, I knew that, like, trying to hide my past and pretend that I was something that I wasn't and be an imposter or whatever was not going to fly. So I've always been an open book,
Mhm.
um, about anything or everything. And, you know, um, it didn't work against me. It helped me and it helped others to see, oh, she's a real person. She's not just somebody that theorizes about these things. She's walked in those shoes. She understands how I feel. And it really did help my business, actually, to just be honest and say, look,
Mhm.
I was at this dark, dark place and now I'm not. And this is how I did it. And this is how you can do it too.
Yeah, I think it gives people more trust when you're being vulnerable, um,
Yeah.
and it makes
It's
the
hard.
connection greater, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my second question for you is about your experience in this community and writing your story. And for those of you watching who don't know, Lisa did write a chapter in the first book, that is a different story. So you need to read both. um, but as far as this time, I know you were going through some hard stuff when you wrote this one, and I want you to share a little bit about that experience, please.
Well, in the first book, I shared the snapshot of one day in the life of a really dysfunctional human being. Um, and it was a story of a time that I was drugged and kidnapped, and just that was like not an atypical thing at that time of my life. And this time I was writing more about um, the span of my life and how I work to get better and get help and that kind of thing. And I guess I what I learned the most is I I had all this adversity happen in the middle of the launch of the first book, right? And I'm like, how am I supposed to promote overcoming adversity when I'm sitting here trying to overcome an adversity? I mean, at one point I had my dog and my dad missing at the same time. And now they've both passed. And so it's been a lot to go through, and it's very silly. And I don't, suggest taking life advice from pop stars, but I was feeling very like picked on by the universe, and I'm like, why can't I just overcoming adversity? I don't want to have to fight or work that hard anymore. And the climb came on the radio, and I was like, oh, it's just always going to be another mountain. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not taking pop advice here, but it's true. There's just always going to be something. Life on life terms means that, stuff's going to happen, and nobody's exempt from it. And just because something really bad happened doesn't mean something else really bad won't happen too. Like, you don't get a free pass just because that other bad thing happened. And that's kind of where I was like, it's not fair. And so through the writing process of this chapter, I realized, like, it's not about fair. It's about being resilient and, like, processing the feelings as they happen and being optimistic. So not like faking positivity, but like saying this is how I really feel, but I'm still hopeful that there's something next for me that is going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And there always is. There always is.
Yeah, that's true. And I think your writing and your stories are incredible. And I hope, I know that people are going to learn from it and not feel alone because of what you have shared. So thank you.
Thank you.
Makes me all emotional. Um, so I need to explain to everybody how you can find us and how you can join our book launch event. So it's going to be on September 22nd. It's going to be virtual. It'll be at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to be live. You will meet all the authors there. You will get to get in breakouts and meet other people. It's a great event. And as I said on my other interview this morning, I think the hardest thing I ever had to do was hit end on that first book launch event because nobody wanted to leave. And so I'm looking forward to another great event with even more people and just broaden our community. We also have a Facebook group that you can join if you're one. It's called Scars to Stars. It is a private group, but anybody can find it and ask to join. So please find us there if you would like. And you can go to realizefoundation.org and you can read all about all of our mission. You can watch the last book launch event free. You can go to the event tab and register for this one. So, our mission, just so everyone understands, all the proceeds from the books do go to the foundation, and our mission is to reduce start over, Dina. Our mission is to reduce suicide statistics through human connection, and what that means is conversation, hard conversation, community, and where we support each other, and also personal story, so people can read our books and they can know that they're not alone in the struggle that they are dealing with, and then they can come into our community and connect with us and have support. And we also teach awareness, just how to talk about suicide. And my feeling is that all of our stories in our books are all kinds of adversity, but it's all the things that get people to suicidal ideation. So hopefully, somebody can read a story about addiction and they can find our community, and then they don't have to even get to suicidal ideation. That's our hope. So you can find us again at realizefoundation.org. And what I'm going to do is take us out of the feed so you can see the cover of the book and the information you need to connect. So we hope to see you all there on September 22nd.